70, the opportunity to...
Very ominous, but talked to Gary Garnett at the National Weather Service out at Hopkins Airport, and the consensus seems to be this is spurious echoes being sent our way by the Pittsburgh antenna on their Doppler. Shame on you, Pittsburgh. I know they didn't mean to do that. But anyway, now this is certainly a little more consequence, and I'm going to stop this as soon as those echoes come in out of the western part of the viewing area. And you see the khaki boxes. This is Erie County, then you've got Huron County and Richland, you've got Ottawa, Sandusky, Seneca, Crawford, and Wyandotte. This is the leading edge of what is a thunderstorm complex we noted at the end of the 7 p.m. show that we would deal with later tonight. So we're going to go on to another computer. It'll give us a better idea of what has been going on. You see the watch boxes coming and going. Now, the current watch box that encompasses the western part of our viewing area is valid till 3 a.m. It may be canceled ahead of that. And I'm going to widen out here, Jessica, if we can have one more view here. Thank you. And there you see that area of thundery weather headed our way ahead of the cool front that's really going to pay off in much more humane temperatures beginning tomorrow. But we're going to deal with some thundery weather yet again tonight. You may get locally hard rains and some very gusty winds. It's going to be breezy tomorrow, but don't worry about that. It'll be the west wind clearing us out behind the front. I'll be back in a few minutes, see if that weekend looks as good as I've been promising.
All right, hope it does. Thank you, Dick. Okay. We'll check back in with Dick in just a minute.
Packing winds of up to 60 miles per hour. That storm left a lot of destruction throughout the area.
Dave Nether's now standing by, picking up our team coverage live in Cleveland Heights. Dave.
Yeah, good evening. This is the shot here in Cleveland Heights that we were talking about, or Dick was talking about just a moment ago. Take a look at this. This is an oak tree that was, or a limb from one, very large limb, that was downed into the house behind me. People are going to be cleaning up for a while after this afternoon's storms here in Cleveland, and tonight, several hundred people still are without power. As quickly as the storm arrived, it was gone, leaving behind a path of destruction, power outages, and flash flooding. In Cleveland Heights, this massive tree toppled, tearing a hole in the roof of a home, tearing down gutters, breaking a dining room window, but no one was hurt.
So I could see, things kind of going horizontally, and the next thing I know, I heard a huge crash that kind of went on for several seconds.
An inch of rain in less than an hour left motorists in Warrensville Heights literally testing these waters. Several drivers made the dangerous decision to try and navigate Aurora Road, while most of the road was concealed under bumper-high water. Power crews also spent most of the afternoon fixing down lines in the area. Lightning also left its mark as the storm turned deadly in other parts of the state. At the Chillicothe Correctional Institution, a prison inmate was killed after lightning sought out his aluminum bat on Wednesday. The powerful bolt injured several other inmates and 2 guards. Hours earlier, a golfer was also struck down at the Phoenix Golf Links. A fellow golfer attempted to revive him.
It shook us up a little bit. I mean, people in there talking about, well, it's a good reason to learn CPR, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there stranded with this poor guy that didn't know what to do for him.
Lesson about carrying a golf club during a thunderstorm, I suppose. A terrible lesson there for that golfer and his buddies. Tonight, we are told that as of right now, about 400 people in our area are still without power. That number has come down considerably since earlier this evening. At 7 o'clock, they were still 6,500. So the good news tonight is that it looks like the power crews are doing their job, and we hope that they'll have everybody online real soon.
Okay. A lot of people needed the rain, but you didn't want all of this other damage that came along with it. So
yeah, that's right.
All right. Thank you, Dave.
Sure.
Death of an 8-year-old boy leads to major changes in the way rides at fairs are inspected. They're calling it now Grayson's Law.
Bill and Anver Yohe want something good to come out of the death of their son. He died back in 2003 after being shocked while on a bumper car at the Lake County Fair.
I know that since the incident, I'm sure fairgrounds and any type of amusements, there has been a tremendous awakening to see where maybe they weren't looking before.
Well, now that awakening is becoming law. It's a tough new law spearheaded by State Representative Tim Castle. It's aimed at preventing the kind of shock that killed Grayson.
Now, it has to go through a breaker. It has to go through a fuse. So if there's a surge of power, the ride is drawing too much power, the fuse or circuit will break.
The new law will cover state fairs and all rides that enter the state of Ohio. They'll also be inspected for proper grounding. Mom says it's a major memorial for Grayson.
It's one of the most significant ones. we still try to celebrate his life, but in his passing, to have his life and what happened to him in such a traumatic way help others is very important to us.
It's a big step, no question, but once rides enter the state, they can go fair to fair without that key circuit breaker getting re-inspected.
There's more to be done. This is a first step. I'd like to have these rides inspected every single time that they're erected, and we will get there eventually.
In the meantime, everybody's more than pleased with the giant strides being taken now.
Several people were convicted of crimes after Grayson's death. Coming up later on this hour, what you need to know before you or your family hops out of a thrill ride. We'll have the very latest on the dangers and how safe those rides really are.
More than just basketball may have been going on at an Ohio camp. There are allegations of hazing. 23 boys from the Norton School District and 3 coaches attended the Bob Huggins basketball camp last week. After they returned, at least one of the boys told a relative he was punched and was the victim of some sort of hazing.
We are not going to make examples, but we are going to be firm and fair in our discipline. If we think our kids are wonderful kids, but I think good kids sometimes do wrong things.
The district is taking statements from each of the boys who attended that camp. The superintendent says he hopes to decide whether there will be any disciplinary action taken within the next week or so.
Just weeks before her wedding, a local woman discovers that her engagement ring is missing. Fortunately, there's a happy ending to the story. For that, we're joined by Fox 8 News reporter Jack Shea.
Lou, it turns out the ring had been stolen and then sold at a local store, but police were able to track it down.
I opened my jewelry box and my ring was missing, and I panicked.
Just 3 weeks before her wedding, Rebecca Paraby of Westlake had to tell her fiancé that the $10,000 ring he gave her was missing.
He was upset that the engagement ring he proposed to me with was stolen, and he spent a great deal of money for it.
Safe Auto reminds you to always wear your seatbelt.